We're recording. Okay. All right, we are recording. So are we gonna do it in one take? We'll see. Hey everybody, I'm Sam Hebert and this is Growing Older Gay, Kitchen Table episode 34 for November 8th, 2025. Welcome everybody. I hope you enjoy our show. This is going to be a longer than usual show, a very special one. I just got back from Palm Springs where my husband and we went to Palm Springs Leather and had all kinds of fun down there. And with that came home a lot of news, important things that I'd like to share with you today on our episode. And so our weekly episode of Kitchen Table is where I share with you what's going on in my LGBTQ plus fishbowl and the greater fishbowl around me. And we always start with the daily meme off of our social media, which is our daily inspiration. It's probably the better way to put it. And we have social media on all the major 4 food groups: Instagram, Facebook, Threads, and Blue Sky. And every day there's a new one. And the one for today simply says, keep building utopia. This actually comes from our 10-part video series from earlier this year called Surviving Anti-LGBTQ Politics. The 10-part series hits on a variety of strategies to weather the storm we find ourselves in. It sucks. We need some help. And so this is a nice little series that really sort of hits on some different areas. This one today is the final installment that after all of the gloom and doom strategy and getting through the rough spots that we're currently experiencing, it talks about an uplifting message to keep moving forward, keep building utopia. And I thought the best thing to do here is to let myself of 8 months ago do the talking. And the final chapter in this is the fact that we cannot lose ourselves in the fight. We have to continue to be joyful, to be loud and proud about who we are, and to continue to build our community and to continue to have fun, have joy, have lots of sex. They hate that. Oh my God, do they hate that? We have to continue to build our utopia. We continue to move forward. And to set the tone for what I'm talking about, I want to quote Dan Savage, who's a well-known podcaster. Earlier last month, he said something in his podcast that really resonated with me, and I just want to share it with you because I think it really encapsulates the message of what we're trying to convey today, and it's this. During the darkest days of the AIDS crisis, we buried our friends in the morning, we protested in the afternoon, and we danced all night. The dance kept us in the fight because it was the dance we were fighting for. It didn't look like we were going to win then, and we did. It doesn't feel like we're going to win now, but we could. Keep fighting, keep dancing. So yeah, we need to fight. We need to fight with all of our might, but we need to keep celebrating and having a good time. We need to keep building our community. So on a personal level, we cannot stop fighting for our dreams, what we want out of this life, who we are and what we're about. The anti-LGBT forces out there are demoralizing on some days. They're de-affirming on some days. They're depressing on some days. But while we're fighting and pushing back, we need to remember to keep building within ourselves, to keep looking for the things in our life that we want to have and to live our best lives. We can't let them take our joy away on a personal level. It's like the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. When he looked in and peered in on the Who's, they were still having joy and fun, and he couldn't understand that. Why are they still happy after all the things I've tried to take away from them? It's because they continue to move forward in their own personal lives and go after what makes them great. Their love, their joy, their creativity, and their dreams. And on that, continue to educate yourself and to build and invest in your life. You're worth it. In spite of everything we hear out there, you are worth gaining new skills, learning new things, finding new friends, finding new lovers. You are worth all of that. You are the person who's in control of your destiny, not them. And so keep looking out for new ways to improve your life, keep taking new opportunities, and keep building on your success. Keep building your community. If you're an organizer out there, if you're somebody who's part of a club, an organization, maybe you organize events, keep doing that. We have a lot of people in our community who organize events at bars and clubs. Maybe they do civic things. Keep doing that. Do more of it. These are opportunities not only to organize the fight and the protest and the pushback, but they're opportunities for us to all get together and love each other and see that we're not alone. Keep building community and keep building the creative spaces and the opportunities for us to get together and share the love. And on that, we also need to keep celebrating our culture. Pride is coming up this spring, and it's going to be a big year for our Pride parades and our Pride festivals. And I think this year it's probably going to take on a different tone. It's going to be a little bit more of a protesty kind of feel, I'm guessing. A pushback and a protest. And remember, the very first Pride gatherings were protests. They were angry, energetic protests against all that was going on and a demand for our visibility and our rights. They weren't full of corporations out there waving the flag going, "Hi, look at us, we love you." We found out in the last year or so they don't necessarily love us so much. They thought we were a cash cow for a while. They were taking advantage, but as soon as they got some pressure, they vanished on us. And so a lot of these Pride celebrations and spaces, and that's going to be devoid of corporations and some of the sponsorship. But honestly, I think that's a good thing. That lets us get in control of the creative, the message, and we don't have to edit to make sure our corporate sponsors are going to be okay with that. We can be who we are, and that's what we need to do. We need to keep building on who we are and what we are and the life we want out there, and that translates to our culture. We need to be out and proud. We have everything to show for our inner goodness. We are good people. In spite of what those people out there think, we are creative, we are loving, we are open-minded in ways that some of these people out there that are the haters, they can only wish to be. And I really think that's a lot of what makes them upset is the fact that they see a lot of people in the LGBTQ plus community. We're out here enjoying life. We're doing things a lot of them wish that they could do. They could, but maybe their church, their family, their culture has convinced them that they have to be a hateful bigot. And that's sad. But we don't have to be those people. We can continue to show our colors because they're good. And in that way, we have to continue to be visible in spite of all the pressures and the weather out there that seems to be coming towards us in a negative way. We have to continue to be proud and out about who we are. And I know that's a repetitive theme at this point in the video, but when you're out there talking to people, I read something on social media this week where a person said, "Hey, in this state of affairs, have you found yourself editing your comments around mixed crowds?" Like a person was talking about their husband, now they're saying partner, or their spouse instead of the word husband. That really made me think about the fact that no, we can't be doing that. Now more than ever, we have to be there. We have to be the example. We have to be visible. Even if we're in a mixed crowd of people who might have just said some comments or made a gay joke, we have to say, yeah, me and my husband X, me and my husband Y and Z. We are normal, good people just like you, and this is how my life goes. And I've done that in my workplace. I've done that out there in the world. And yes, sometimes people kind of look at you funny, or maybe you don't see that person wanting to hang around you anymore, but that's okay. We cannot be silent. Silence is death. We must be visible, we must be vocal, and we must be proud of who we are. Don't edit yourself for anybody, now more than ever. And the last thing I will close this with, and is on that last sentence wavelength, is the fact that Leo Herrera, who is a filmmaker, he's a blogger, he's somebody that's very influential in our community, I think a beautiful creative soul. I kind of have a man crush on him if I'm honest. But he made a short film some years ago called Fathers, and it imagines this utopian world where the gays had power and status, and they lived out loud, and they did this in a way that made them very powerful, and just a very good example for a community. And in that film, it sort of gives examples of what we've really done in this world that we really haven't embraced and really appreciated as the utopia that we wanted to build that really actually exists right under our noses. But the other half of that is it talks about the fact that the more out, the more visible, the more a part of community that we became in this story, there was backlash by the haters. And it talks about that. There's real backlash that was mentioned in our history, but the fact of the matter is yes, we need to build our utopia. Yes, we need to continue to be who we are, but we are going to experience backlash. The more we love, the more we show, the more we stand and show up. You know, that's part of what's happening right now, I believe, in our world, is because we've, in the last decade in particular, really sort of risen in the social fabric in terms of status and visibility. It is scaring the living shit out of these haters and these bigots and these right-wing homophobes and the religious. They're scared, they're running, and they're angry, because anger is a result of fear. Hate is a result of fear. You can see the entire series of Surviving Anti-LGBTQ Politics on our YouTube channel. There is a playlist specifically for that. You can find the link listed in the information down below, and you can find it linked at the end of this video. Watch the whole thing. It might be a good refresher course for getting through all of the stuff that, well, when that was recorded, hadn't started yet. Although looking back on it now, I think it did a pretty good job of predicting all of the things that we'll sort of need to do to put our armor on and get through it. Yes. So the next thing I want to talk about is Palm Springs leather and Palm Springs and the Cathedral City area. One of the big things I was exposed to in Palm Springs this weekend, Cathedral City to be exact, is a new bar that's going to be opening, the Eagle Cathedral City. One of the long-beloved homes of the LGBTQ leather community in Palm Springs has been the iconic Barracks Bar in Cathedral City. Opening in 1992, it survived some 34 years and served as the most favored gay leather night spot and the gathering place for many of the clubs in the region until it closed suddenly in August of 2024 under a number of challenges. While Dick's on Arenas still remains as a leather bar as well as the popular tool shed in Palm Springs, the community suddenly found themselves with a huge hole in their nightlife. But the good news is some heroes have entered the picture. Philip and Jerry Nallwalker missed the old club so much, they decided to bring it back. With a groundswell of enthusiasm from the local community, the couple invested their life savings in addition to over $700,000 in crowdfunding to secure and transform the old barracks location into a world-class gay space, bigger, better, and more encompassing than ever. Starting with a complete down-to-the-studs remodel and expansion, it'll become the Eagle Cathedral City, paying homage to the other 30 Eagle bars around the world. In my visit to the Eagle Bar open house over the Leather Pride weekend, I saw that the old Barracks Bar interior and exterior has been stripped bare and ready to move on to the next construction phase of a completely reimagined space. To start with, there's going to be an expanded patio area about twice the size as the old one, with an additional 800 square feet. Well shaded, there'll be an additional outdoor bar for faster service on those busy nights. A bank of lockers and a bench will be provided for those skimpy wardrobe changes and to keep all your stuff in. I'm looking forward to that. I really am. Every bar needs that. There's also going to be cooling misters and heating elements both to knock the edges off the weather extremes. Inside, a larger and more navigable dance space will feature a modern state-of-the-art lighting system and an incredible new sound system that really promises to make the Eagle the premier dance club of the area and a favorite for DJs. And the best part, additional bathroom space is going to be added with over a dozen toilets and multiple urinals, although I really kind of wish they'd bring back the trough. I kind of like that. But lots of places to go to the bathroom. That's always a big problem, and certainly was at the barracks. While the new building and facilities is entirely new from top to bottom, a new energy and slate of fresh events are planned. But don't worry, Philip and Jeremy are keeping what they've missed. The built-in rough trade gear store will be back, and the pool table will still have its place up front. And yes, the famous Sunday beer bust will return. In my conversation with Philip and Jeremy at the open house, it was stated that they plan to open in February of 2026 in conjunction with the International Bear Convergence Weekend, IBC. You can learn more at their website at eaglebarcc.com to keep up on what's going on with the bar and the opening, as well as buy merchandise, which I did this weekend. It just wasn't quite done in the laundry yet. Otherwise, I'd be wearing my new Eagle Bar Cathedral City tank top. So they're really on it. I am really excited about this, even though it's not in Phoenix. And incidentally, the barracks is moving to Phoenix at some point in the future. They have a location here, but we don't know when that's going to happen. So we're still going to have the barracks. It just won't be there. Now, Palm Springs also is home to another new thing, Keep Building Utopia. The Palm Springs LGBTQ monument that I spoke of last week, I got a chance to go out and see it in person. Oh my God, this thing is big and it is beautiful. It really is just an amazing piece of work. Over 8 feet tall and 14 feet wide at its widest point, the layout and the shapes really draw you into it. No matter which direction you approach the colorful steel structure from, it looks different. Circumnavigating it brings new perspectives that just seem endless. You can even get up into it and look right through the center. Just unveiled last month, the $500,000 sculpture is located in the Francis Stevens Park at the corner of Alejo and Indian Canyon Drive, just on the north side of downtown. It's on the main strip, very easy to find. In fact, when you drive into town, you really can't miss it. Designed by the renowned artist Jim Iserman, it features the expanded colors of the Philadelphia Pride flag, and it really is just a must-see if you go to Palm Springs. I totally felt like a tourist. It's making me emotional. But I cry at weddings. So yeah, it was a really special thing to go see. I highly recommend it if you're going to Palm Springs. But now we got to talk about Palm Springs leather, because it was my first time at this event. My husband, he's an old saw. He's been there a lot. But it is one of the biggest leather contests in the United States, just behind International Mr. Leather in Chicago. And this year's annual Palm Springs Leather Pride event was one for the books in terms of attendance, new event features, and in the poignant unfolding of the contest itself. The event, held at the Hotel Zoso downtown, hosted 4 days of leather folk and fabulous Palm Springs weather, perfect for the many outdoor events, both on-site and off. And speaking of those, there were 2 clothing optional pool parties at Cathedral City Boys Club, known as CCBC, and the indoor play party at the hotel basement called Going Deep. Having attended both of these events, I can tell you that my husband and I both came home tired and sore in all the right places. The CCBC event was packed with hundreds of men, both in and around the pool, as well as in all the dirty little corners of the facility, if you know what I'm saying. At the hotel play party Going Deep, there were over 500 men packed in the basement of the hotel. Big ballrooms, cordoned off with lighting, a DJ, lots of play furniture, and cleanup stations. They were prepared. And I have to tell you, not only was the energy high with 500 men in there, and they kept it cool, it was just a nice environment. It was like a big mosh pit of men, mostly naked. So if you can picture that, and it was one of the best play parties I think I've ever seen in terms of how well organized it was, how well supplied it was, and how well furnished it was. And it was just kind of comical. Only in Palm Springs was sort of something a lot of people were talking about, because there were slings and play furniture all over the place that said Palm Springs Rentals right on them. They have party rentals for this. Who would have thunk it? So that was a really big part of our experience there. But I think really the contest itself was the centerpiece of the entire weekend. The event had last year's Mr. Palm Springs Leather title holder Rene Hebert handing off his sash to this year's contest winner, Honey Davenport. Honey came into the contest this year with the title Mr. Dick's Leather. He was one of my top picks for winner before the contest and came out on top. Well deserved. An amazing guy, a handsome guy, very charismatic, and he brings a great message with him. It was a great performance, and I really look forward to seeing what he's going to bring to our community. But making the event a really emotional space was the step-down speech from Rene Hebert. First of all, if you're unaware, he's currently the reigning International Mr. Leather, having won that contest last spring, in addition to his Mr. Palm Springs Leather title. He's a native of Canada, but has been living in Palm Springs since 2017 to be close to his leather family, Daddy Doc Duhan, James Moore, and partner James Dunnigan. Bringing the evening to tears was his bombshell announcement that he'll actually be leaving the U.S. before Christmas because his visa renewal was denied. Now, while I can't run his entire speech here, and I certainly couldn't repeat it without crying my eyes out, because it really makes me emotional, I'm going to play just a little bit of it here.
About 2 weeks ago, my daddy and I traveled to the border to get my visa renewed, and it was denied. I've been terrified of saying those words out loud because it makes it real. So come Christmas, I'm going to be back in Canada. I'm going to be in Montreal. And I'm scared again. Will I find community again?
You sure will. You sure will.
Here's the thing that I have come to learn. Community is where you build it. Community is where you make the effort to reach. Community is where it doesn't matter if you're the domliest dom top that existed or the biggest sissy bitch. Community is wherever it exists, wherever you allow yourself the authenticity to encourage others by doing the same just from your presence. Community is built. When I was at IML, I had 90 seconds to give a speech to the best of my ability, and it's literally 90 seconds. They cut the mic off at that point. So I was like, okay, let's see what I can do, right? And I was saying that community is all of us. Every single person in this room, every single person hiding in their apartment on Sniffy's hoping for a connection, every single person that is watching reruns of Queer as Folk wishing that they had that courage, every single person that just bought their first harness, the lesbians who have been picking up the pieces for decades, the black pups that are yearning for authenticity and representation, the boot black that used to go by Jill but is named Jack. All are our community. I'm sorry to recycle a diatribe, but divided we fall. Together we win. One of the things I've been very careful about since I moved here, being an immigrant, essentially, is not being overly politically vocal, because getting on the wrong political radar at the wrong time gets you kicked out of the country. Well, now that that's done anyway, trans rights are being ripped away. The trans community, by the way, is at the same place fighting the same fucking battles the gay community has been fighting since the early 90s, if not longer. History is cyclical and they need our fucking help. Women's rights are getting stripped. If you think it's going to end at abortion rights, they're looking at taking away gay marriage again at this point. If you think it's going to stop there, no, it's going to stop at PrEP. It's going to stop at HIV care. It's going to keep going towards a full f***ing genocide unless the orange shit given gets stopped. So, I'm going to make you a promise. You never know where the f*** I'm going to show up. I've kind of figured that out. It's like, one weekend I'm going to be in, San Francisco. The next weekend I'm going to be in Montana giving a speech to sexual therapy psychologists. True story. But I promise to keep building community as best I can. I promise that wherever I end up, I will keep doing my best to use my voice, my privilege as a cis white guy, to take the target off of those that can't speak up. And I look at this room and I see a lot of potential for other people to do the exact same and make sure we make it out of this alive. So as I said at IML, they're trying to divide us and make us easier to swallow. Let's make them chunk.
First of all, I want to thank Billy Lane, a fixture of our community, for shooting this video. That is a credit to him. I had a hard time with this, obviously. It's really just a perfect storm of the human disaster that we are all living in right now, a man-made disaster in terms of our policy, our immigration policy, and the social fabric of our nation ourselves, that someone with the level of productivity, the level of education, professionalism, and somebody who's really just contributing to our community in amazing ways gets essentially kicked out for no apparent reason. He's done nothing wrong. He's broke no laws. In any normal time, he would have been able to renew his visa, but he has to leave. The very heartening part of this is the fact that his Leather family has also announced that they will be moving up to Canada. They will be following him up there to be close to him. So a very emotional topic. I mean, I just cried myself out at the contest. It was awful. It's right there. Bottom line is, I love these guys. You know, I love what they've done. I love what they're doing. It's sad that they've got to do it that way, but it really gets us back to this theme that we've been talking about during our episode called Keep Building Utopia. Sometimes utopia isn't going to look the way we originally envisioned it, but despite all of the grief and hardship that we're faced with, the challenges, we have to find a way to keep moving forward. And that gets me to my last piece. While my situation isn't nearly as dire as being kicked out of the country and my whole family having to move to catch up with me, there are some changes coming my way in my personal and professional life that are going to affect how we do our show. Basically, the story is that my day job has announced last month that they are moving to a work at home model, which is fine with me because I have worked at home before for decades in a self-employed situation. So I've learned to do that. I've learned to do what it takes to stay sane when you're working at home and having to get up and go do things and get away from the workspace, and how to be diligent and how to be determined to, you know, keep the work ethic going. I get all of that. So that part of it, I'm good with. The part of it that is sort of the downside is that where I live right now with my husband, we live in a very small 1-bedroom space. And because it is a healthcare job, they have very stringent requirements for my workspace. I have to have privacy. I have to have a secure location where other people can't be coming in and out and seeing what's going on my screen or hearing what I'm saying because of the HIPAA rules. So I have to have my own separate office. That means we have to upgrade to a larger home. And so that's going to be happening in the next few weeks. What that means for us is there may be a week where I'm AWOL because we're going to actually be moving over a week and weekend, but I am going to have a dedicated new space for studio, which is a good thing because it's going to have better acoustics. It's going to have a more permanent situation. Right now, I have a sort of makeshift green screen studio in my garage, and the acoustics are terrible. Now it'll be a dedicated space indoors with all of the right materials so that it will sound better, and I can set the lighting up and leave it. I don't have to keep rejiggering it every time I'm doing a recording. Our kitchen table episodes will be slightly different because, well, it's going to be a different kitchen table probably in a different location in the house. We'll see how that works out. So big changes, a little scary, a lot of work, but I am going to keep building utopia for myself and my husband and all of you. And so that gets us to the last part of our episode, which is simply this. I really love all of you out there, my friends, my family, my leather family, my chosen family. I really got a charge out of going to a big event this weekend. We talked about a lot of that. It had highs, it had lows, it had a lot of playtime. But emotionally and spiritually is very healthy because when you get around hundreds and maybe 1,000 or more people that are in the same fishbowl as you, that are part of your tribe, especially in the times we are living in, it is a very powerful thing. I talked about that a couple weeks ago about the Pride Parade, being in that space with all of the people around showing the love. This was another opportunity to get in and among people that share who I am and what I am and really interact with them in a way that it makes me feel not alone. It makes me feel powerful. It makes me feel validated to know that I'm not alone. And all of us can benefit from that. So if you're doom scrolling, if you're sitting around doing nothing in terms of getting out of the house and being a part of the community where that feeds into your spiritual and mental health, I really encourage you to try that. And in that way, our 10-part series, the Surviving Anti-LGBT Politics that we did at the beginning of the year before most of this shit show actually started, has a lot of great strategies, 10 different episodes on how to deal with the negative, how to get through the struggle, and how to keep moving forward. So I highly recommend you check that out. You can see us on social media, all the major 4 food groups. We talked about those: Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and Blue Sky. And if you really want to check out that 10-part series, Surviving Anti-LGBT Politics, on our YouTube channel, you can see that right there. Better yet, follow our YouTube channel right there and stay informed of everything we do. Either way, stay tuned, my friends.